Hello, welcome to the second week. This is the second week of the project. What am I doing? I'm shooting 21 rolls with my Leica M3. That's what I'm doing. I'm shooting 21 rolls and I'm showing you the best 30 images of this second week from roll 8 until 14. So those are the 7 rolls and let's get to it. It's raining outside, or it's about to rain, and yesterday I went out and I took some pictures and I got soaked. So I don't want to repeat that because I can't get sick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this time to start developing the roles and see how the project is going. So I have a bunch of roles that I need to develop, and I think it will be a good idea to start developing them and see how they look like in order to start adjusting if I need to adjust something, or see what's good with this or what's not good, if it's working or if it's not working. I think it's a good opportunity. This is an 8-reel Patterson tank. I'll use that. My mix jug, stop bath. I'm gonna use DV76 as a developer and some Kodak fixer. So I'm gonna stick with Kodak the whole time. Since these rolls are Kodak, I'd rather stick with the brand and try to make it happen. I mean, I purchased these rolls a year ago, and I purchased this also a year ago, and I've been waiting a year to make this happen, so I'm pretty excited to finally mix the chemicals. Where did you get these bottles? I got them off eBay. Like basically everything that I have. So there you go. 1 gallon. I have never used this stop bath. I don't know if it's good or not. I have no clue. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna follow the instructions that I found on the internet forums. That's how you get your knowledge. I will dissolve 50 milliliters of this thing in 1 gallon. That's what I heard is the proportion. Don't quote me on this one, I have no idea. One of my patrons gave me this a few months ago and I have never used it. I've always been waiting for this opportunity to make it happen. And it's a changing bag, but it's like more than a changing bag, it looks like a changing room. Nice. Oh, there's so much space. This is beautiful. I was not expecting this at all. Man, that was intense. This is always, for me, the worst part of developing. It takes so long and it's so frustrating to make this happen. And this reel was giving me problems, so I have to switch it. Pictures, man! Yay! This week was marked by the act of wondering what the hell was I doing, which is it's an important question, because when probably some of you can relate to this, but if you have photography as your hobby and you're interested in street photography, one thing that happens is that you go out and you start taking pictures of random people, and there are certain thoughts that permeate through your brain, and there are really important thoughts. One of them is, why am I doing this? What's the reason? Why am I outside taking pictures? Why am I not using my time for something like, I don't know, I need to study. I'm having a PhD, guys, and I need to write a play, and I need to write the lyrics for an album, and I need to do so many things. I need to study really hard, but I'm outside taking pictures. Why am I subjecting myself to this? I felt like I reached a plateau in which my images were okay, but that level of okay was not like, oh my god, I'm proud of these images that I've captured. And it's not like, oh, I'm so embarrassed that I need to get better. It was just a comfortable middle ground that I've been for a long time. I wanted to get better at taking pictures just for the sake of getting better at taking pictures, and that's it. Also because I wanted to feel proud of myself by finishing a project that I felt was really hard. It's really hard to go outside and shoot a roll a day. My biggest respects for all the street photographers who go out there and just go and go and go and keep producing images. That's super tiring, man. because you're not only crafting images, you're not only like at this thing, it doesn't have a light meter, so I was taking measurements and remembering, lights and shadows and trying to make it happen, and at the same time wondering, like, is this okay? Is this composition working? And at some point, like at hour 3 or 4 of doing this, the brain just gets too tired. Like my eyes couldn't realize what's interesting and what's not. Like, to take a picture, I need to feel like something is interesting me. It's pulling me like, oh, I need to capture this moment. I need to capture this person. This looks like, wow, this captures my attention. And after 4 hours of constantly moving your attention toward another object outside, at one point the attention is just too tired. I was unable to be focused. At the 4.5, 5 hour mark, that was my mental limit. I'm pretty sure people who are like experienced street photographers can go outside and take like several rolls in one day and just not feel tired about it. But my experience was different, and that's my attention span. What you gonna do? Like that's my attention span. 4.5 hours is the top I can do in a thing so demanding as trying to organize everything without light meter and trying to compose the whole thing. The other thing that happened that was really important to me during the second week was that I felt more comfortable by shooting without looking through the viewfinder. At some moments when I was traveling through the subway, I would keep my camera on the backpack and I would just carry this, and I would train myself to see what the viewfinder looks when it's not attached to the camera, when it's just like this. So I would say, okay, my eyes focus on this point, and I look through the viewfinder and I can see up to this other point. So probably this is the viewfinder space. The corners of my eyes were the 28 millimeters. If I see a scene, I can tell, okay, the lens is gonna capture this. The big issue was the top and the bottom, because it's a 28, so I don't know how it look. So I need to get accustomed to top and bottom. How much do I look? If I tilt up or down, how did the scenery change? So once I got used to this and I could visualize how the viewfinder looked, I could take pictures without looking through the viewfinder. That's one thing that started happening on week 2. And I was really proud when that happened, actually. I could take a picture without looking. That's like stellar. Always like this, of course. I would see something and just take it and keep going, and I would know like it's gonna be an okay photo because it's a 1.5 meters and it's focused at a 1.5 meters, and I lift it and it's basically here. So what this allowed me to do was capturing moments in positions in which it will be impossible for me to be stealthy or invisible if I will be focusing. That kind of things happened by week 2, and I was super proud of it. Week 2 is marked, as I said, by self-doubt, of course, wondering what the hell am I doing here, learning how to operate the camera outside of myself, and getting used to the tool. Something important that happened in week 2 was that I developed the rolls. I did not develop on week 1 because I was just back from Spain and I was trying to get into the whole thing, and then I got into roll 8, 9, 10, and I said, okay, I'll develop by the time I reached the second week. So by the end of week 2, I developed the rolls. When that happened, I knew what I was doing. I knew what was working and what was not. And that's an important piece of information that is not trivial at all, and it's this. If you're doing a project like this, my best recommendation is to develop every so often. Every week, try to develop, because you'll know what's working and what's not, what's happening. There's some mistakes that I made on roll 3, and since I did not develop, I could not correct them until roll, 16. If you're gonna do something like this, try to develop at the end of the week. That would be like my stellar suggestion. So every so often, try to develop and see what you're doing well, what you're not doing well, and that will give you enough information to actually keep going with your project. That's all I have to share with you about this week. It was an important week. It was a week in which I decided that I would finish this with dignity, and I start feeling good about myself, because by now I've been training so much that I start feeling more comfortable approaching people or like with the camera. I know what to expect. I know which streets are better at what time. So I have a map in my head of New York that I can follow around. I don't need to go to Times Square all the time. I can go to a 34. I can go to a 42nd. I can go, from Bryant Park and then get the 7th or whatnot. So That was good. What was also good was that I started seeing the same people over and over, and photographers who go to the same corners over and over. And I will recognize them, and they will recognize me, and we will be like, hey, we'll nod each other and smile, and they just keep going. So I don't know. There's a certain feeling of being in a group even though you're alone, and that was a nice feeling that I got on week 2. So I hope you enjoyed these images. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week for the last installment of this project. So until then, just keep shooting, guys.